Don't be fooled by the strange appearance of some artworks. In the minds of sharp investors, art isn't merely aesthetic, it's a powerful, profitable asset. While stock markets fluctuate and interest rates shift, art stands as a resilient, strategic fortress. The rich don't need to understand the painting. They understand scarcity, timing, and market behavior. Art becomes a long-term play, a bet not on beauty, but on exclusivity. And in a world where rare assets rule, art becomes a silent giant in the investment landscape. Imagine buying a painting for $10,000 and selling it 10 years later for $100,000. That's a 10x return, without the volatility of stocks or real estate. The magic isn't in the canvas, but in who created it and when. The wealthy understand that value in art is often driven by perception, movement trends, and legacy. While the public debates the meaning of the piece, investors track market cycles and artists' reputation. They don't wait for art to be understood. They invest before it becomes iconic. Here's the real power. Art doesn't need economic logic to grow in value. It grows through emotion, scarcity, and narrative. When an artist passes away, their work becomes finite, driving demand and skyrocketing price. A tragic life story, even better. The market feeds off mystique. This is why the rich chase early-stage artists and rare collections, not for emotional connection, but for speculative upside. In their eyes, a painting isn't a decoration. It's a quiet seed of future millions, hanging on a gallery wall. Art blends strategy and prestige. Buying a piece isn't just a transaction, it's a calculated bet on market psychology. Wealthy collectors hire curators, analysts, and historians to evaluate art like you would a promising startup. They don't follow trends, they create them. One purchase from a high-profile collector can spark an entire surge in value for similar works. This isn't passive investing, this is market manipulation with elegance, and the canvas is merely the medium. What makes art uniquely powerful is its resistance to rigid valuation. No price-to-earnings ratio, no spreadsheets, no earnings reports. Value in art is rooted in narrative, sentiment, and exclusivity. A compelling story, a cultural breakthrough, or a controversial message can turn a piece into a financial rocket. The rich aren't guessing, they're decoding financial stories painted in pigment. They're buying more than art. They're buying the future perception of value before the world even notices. Art is also incredibly flexible. Unlike stocks or property, it can be hidden, transferred, or stored discreetly, often without triggering regulatory scrutiny. It doesn't depend on central banks or interest rates. It transcends traditional finance. That's why it becomes the ideal silent haven for the ultra-wealthy. In the right hands, a painting isn't a picture. It's a weaponized asset, appreciating in value while quietly sitting in a warehouse or vault, waiting to make its next strategic move. If you think the rich pay more taxes because they earn more, think again. The rich don't play the tax game. They redefine the rules. One of their most powerful and legal tools? Art. A painting isn't just a visual statement, it's a ticket to massive tax deductions. When leveraged properly, a single artwork can save millions in taxes while boosting the owner's social standing. It's elegant, silent, and brilliantly effective. The kind of tool only those truly fluent in wealth strategy ever use. Picture this. You buy a painting for $3 million. 5 years later, it's appraised at $20 million. Rather than selling and paying capital gains tax, you donate it to a museum. Now, instead of paying taxes on your $50 million income, you deduct the full appraised value, $20 million, from your taxable income. That means you've legally reduced your tax burden by millions, simply by donating art. It's not tax evasion. It's tax choreography, performed with precision. Here's the best part. It's all 100% legal. As long as you have proper appraisals, documentation, and a reputable donation recipient, you're protected. This isn't about dodging rules, it's about mastering them. The rich don't hide their money, they redirect it through channels of art, law, and influence. A painting on a wall isn't passive, it's a financial chess piece, quietly moving through boardrooms and tax codes, saving fortunes one appraisal at a time. But not everyone can pull this off. You can't just buy a random painting and claim it's worth $50 million. The IRS has its own experts who will scrutinize inflated valuations. That's why the wealthy build connections in the art world, with galleries, curators, museums, and appraisers. They know how to play the long game. It's a closed ecosystem where access creates opportunity, and the right connections make your artwork both valuable and tax-deductible. And the cherry on top? Publicity. When you donate a high-value artwork, you're praised for generosity, responsibility, and cultural contribution. The media applauds. Museums honor you. Meanwhile, you've saved millions in taxes and elevated your social image. Art becomes a triple-threat vehicle: tax deduction, brand building, and elite signaling. The rich don't donate for beauty, they donate to be seen, respected, and rewarded. And art makes that possible without saying a word. So don't be surprised when billionaires give away paintings. They're not being selfless, they're being strategically brilliant. Every donation is a move in a bigger game. And in this game, the tax code isn't a barrier, it's a ladder. Art isn't just saving them money, it's elevating their legacy, building trust, and converting taxes into trophies. The wealthy don't escape taxes. They transform them into influence. You've probably heard of notorious criminals owning multi-million-dollar art collections. That's no coincidence. Art, with its abstract nature and subjective value, is a paradise for money laundering. When you need to turn piles of dirty money into clean, legitimate wealth, you can't use gold. You can't use banks. But you can buy a painting. A painting doesn't ask questions. It doesn't come with receipts or financial statements. A painting is quiet, elegant, and full of opportunity. In the eyes of the financial elite, it's not just artwork. It's a silent and strategic vehicle. The process begins with cash, buying a piece from a seller who doesn't dig too deep. Then the artwork is sent to a free port, a tax-free high-security art storage facility in places like Switzerland, Singapore, or Luxembourg. No customs, no inspections, no taxes. The painting waits, untouched. When the time is right, it's reintroduced into the public sphere, auctioned off, and sold. The money from the sale is now clean, legal, and ready to be deposited in any bank. No one suspects a thing, and all it took was a painting and a little patience. Why is art so effective for this purpose? Because the art market is not transparent. No centralized exchange, no standardized pricing, no consistent valuation system. Everything depends on negotiation, perception, reputation, and narrative. In such a world, you can buy for $10 million and sell for $10 million, and no one questions it. If they do, a few certificates and a reputable auction house are enough to silence doubt. Art's ambiguity is its armor. It shields financial activities under layers of culture, elegance, and creative freedom, making it nearly immune to scrutiny. But the truly sophisticated don't stop at one transaction. They create an intricate web of exchanges, through intermediaries, across borders, and via multiple galleries, until the money trail is so tangled it's untraceable. Art becomes a refined shield for underground finance. It constructs a veil of mystery no one dares to lift. Not even major financial institutions, because lifting it could unravel deals, reputations, and systems far too delicate to disturb. Behind its beauty, art hides complexity, and behind that complexity, layers of hidden wealth. Most importantly, art is easily movable. It can be stored in containers, transported on private jets, or even moved under diplomatic cover. Unlike gold or cash, it doesn't trigger alarms. It's seen as culture, not currency. And elite financial criminals know this. They don't hide money under mattresses. They hang it silently on walls. A single painting can quietly hold millions, ready to be liquidated with elegance. Art doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. In the right hands, it becomes the ultimate invisible asset. Money laundering through art is the pinnacle of strategy, ambition, and exploiting legal loopholes. It's not just a criminal tactic. It's a tool of the powerful. Those who use it often understand the law better than those who enforce it. In this world, art is no longer just creativity. It's the perfect disguise. A beautiful cover for a dark, complex machine. You may love art, you may believe in its soul, but never be naive, because in the hands of the elite, it becomes a weapon dressed in beauty. In the high-end art world, value doesn't always come from talent or emotional depth. Here's the truth. Value can be engineered. The ultra-wealthy, masters of influence, know exactly how to manipulate markets. They don't wait for the world to recognize a masterpiece. They create the masterpiece's fame, then profit from the narrative. This isn't deception. It's elite strategy. While the public debates meaning, the rich shape perception. They don't play the market, they build it, paint it, auction it, and cash in before the rest of the world knows what just happened. It starts with a relatively unknown artist. A wealthy collector sees the opportunity, not in the art itself but in its potential to be inflated. They buy several pieces at low prices, then partner with prestigious galleries to showcase them. The press is invited. Influencers attend. Buzz builds. The artist's name starts trending. Prices triple, then skyrocket. Suddenly, what was once a $10,000 piece is selling for hundreds of thousands. Not because the art changed, but because the narrative was carefully constructed. It's not luck, it's an orchestrated campaign. Next comes critical acclaim, often commissioned. Well-connected insiders publish articles praising the vision and depth of the artist. Exclusive exhibitions are organized, bringing social proof and prestige. The artwork's value continues to rise, not through demand, but through perceived importance. In art, perception is reality. When the wealthy declare something valuable and back it with money, marketing, and media, the market often follows blindly. And as the frenzy builds, the value becomes self-reinforcing. Belief becomes price, speculation becomes fact, and it all began with a calculated bet. Once the hype is peaking, the original collector begins to sell. Their once affordable piece now fetches millions at auction. Meanwhile, their partners, who also bought in early, begin offloading. The artist, still relatively new, is hailed as a genius. But the true genius lies in the system behind them, a machine designed to convert obscurity into millions. This process is repeated with other artists, again and again. It's not a scam, it's a strategy, one that uses influence, not innovation, to generate returns. What makes this system so powerful is that it's entirely legal. Every transaction is legitimate. Every dollar is accounted for. No laws are broken. No regulators intervene. And yet, behind the curtain, a tight-knit network of buyers, sellers, curators, and galleries are choreographing the entire show. They control the players, the pricing, the narrative, all while the public applauds. It's a masterclass in soft power, invisible manipulation with visible profits. In this world, perception is not an accident, it's a business model. Because art has no universally accepted valuation model, it becomes a playground for financial speculation. You can't quantify emotions, you can't argue against vision. This subjectivity becomes an asset, a tool. The ultra-wealthy use it to generate artificial scarcity, urgency, and exclusivity. Their goal isn't to appreciate beauty, it's to appreciate value. They don't buy art, they buy a story they can sell later. A whisper campaign, a curated Instagram feed, a fabricated buzz. This is not about art, it's about engineering desire. Art, once a symbol of human spirit, has become a sophisticated playground for the financially elite. But don't mistake this for something sinister. It's brilliant. With strategy and influence, a painting becomes a portfolio, an auction becomes a payout, and a gallery becomes a stock exchange. In their hands, art is no longer static. It's a dynamic asset, a wealth generator, and a lever of power. They don't admire from a distance. They step behind the frame and direct the spotlight. And when the market applauds, it's because the script was written long before the first bid. In the world of billionaires, money isn't what sets you apart. Everyone has luxury cars, private jets, and estates. What truly distinguishes the elite is cultural capital, and nothing screams influence louder than owning world-class art. A high-value painting hanging on the wall isn't just beautiful, it's a signal of intellect, taste, and status. It says, I'm not just rich, I'm part of a rarefied world. Art becomes the silent language of power, and in that language, the frame isn't just holding a picture, it's framing identity. Imagine a billionaire showing guests around their mansion and pointing casually to a piece. This one was shown at the Venice Biennale. That statement does more than impress. It defines social hierarchy. The message is subtle but clear. I belong to the inner circle of global tastemakers. Owning art is no longer just ownership, it's access. It places you within the orbit of museum curators, critics, political leaders, and cultural icons. In these elite circles, a painting isn't an object, it's a key, unlocking the doors to opportunity, influence, and legacy. Here's a little-known truth. The most coveted artworks aren't available to just anyone. No matter how much money you have, you can't simply buy your way in. High-end galleries often reserve masterpieces for known collectors with established reputations. That means art becomes more than a luxury. It becomes a credential. a rite of passage. Owning the right piece means you've passed the test. You've earned trust, proven taste, and built the right relationships. It's not about financial wealth, it's about belonging to a cultural hierarchy that money alone can't buy. Events like Art Basel and Frieze may look like exhibitions, but in reality, they're deal-making arenas. Behind every champagne flute is a business card. Behind every art talk is a partnership waiting to form. Art brings together titans of industry, heads of state, celebrities, and thought leaders. And here's the secret. Many of the biggest business deals, investments, and political alliances are born not in boardrooms but in galleries. If you're not in the art world, you're out of the conversation. And if you don't own art, you're not invited to the table. More than just a tool for access, art is a form of self-branding. A tech mogul might showcase minimalist modernism to reflect innovation. A hedge fund titan may prefer Renaissance pieces to imply depth and sophistication. Even politicians strategically display bold or subversive works to signal alignment with the people. Every piece becomes a mirror, reflecting what the collector wants the world to see. In this arena, art speaks before you do. And its message? This is who I am. This is the power I carry. This is the world I belong to. They say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. In elite circles, you are the average of the 5 paintings you collect. Your collection becomes your social resume. It reveals what networks you've entered, what values you support, and what elite doors are open to you. Not everyone owns a Picasso, but those who do are assumed to be curated by the elite themselves. In this world, art doesn't just sit on walls. It writes your story, builds your profile, and carves your seat at the global table. So no, the wealthy don't buy art just to decorate a home. They're building a personal empire, one masterpiece at a time. Each acquisition is a chess move, not toward beauty but toward deeper access, higher status, and greater leverage. Art is their passport into rooms money alone can't unlock. In the language of influence, paintings speak louder than portfolios. And in the elite circles where decisions shape the future, those without art have no voice. But those who do? They're not just in the room. They own the gallery. Art is no longer just a realm of pure emotion. It's strategy. It's an asset. And it's the language of the elite. The wealthy don't simply buy paintings, they buy advantage, financial immortality, and access to global power networks. A single artwork can conceal millions, reduce taxes, launder money, manipulate markets, and elevate social standing. Behind the beauty lies an entire universe of calculated moves. And the rich, they're not admiring the painting. They're playing chess.